Hey Summoners, how's it going? And welcome back to another Wild Rift video. My name is Nathan Ng, and today we'll be taking a look at how to counter the meta for patch 2.1. This video offers all players on all roles beneficial information on how to deal with the patch 2.1's OP picks. Curious? Let's take a look. First, let's talk about Orianna. She's an absolute unit in the middle lane. Have you recently played against her? It's natural to struggle against a champion's insane range and trading capabilities. But don't worry, we got what you need to make her regret locking in that Ori. Let me go ahead and give you a better idea on how to deal with her in lane. Orianna's abilities Command, Attack, and Dissonance make it very difficult for the other champion to engage in a fair trade with her. However, who is forcing us to trade on her terms? When taking a look at the available champions, there is one specific outlier so strong that she can easily be her equal. Meet Seraphine, the starry-eyed songstress. I'm sure that most of you, including me, have already made her acquaintance when being charmed into death. Now, you might be wondering what makes her so strong in that matchup. It's a very easy yet effective playstyle, the ability to outrange, sustain, and scale. You don't necessarily have to kill your opponent to win. In most matchups, Orianna can freely bully the opposing side with little to no repercussions for herself. So you'll be glad to know that as Seraphine takes the stage, this dynamic is different. The ability to outrange, outsustain, and so freely scale into later parts of the game is just way too easily achievable. And that's not all to it. Compared to Orianna, Seraphine actually has somewhat reliable crowd control with her double casted beat drop ability. Having decent crowd control abilities make it easier for your jungle to assist you, therefore snowball the game in your favor. This counter matchup is music to my ears. Because she's a singer. Not your style? Don't sweat it. We got another one for you. Aurelion Sol, the Forging Dragon. You probably already know about Aurelion's ability Star Surge. Yeah, the one that grows bigger and bigger until it stuns the entire enemy team. I don't care what she says, size does matter. When playing against Orianna, this spell will likely be the key to push her out of lane. You're going to be using Star Surge from a distance to make sure that it grows large enough to cover the entire enemy wave as you get closer to Orianna. This allows us to give us a preemptive strike. She cannot do much against this strategy apart from giving us control over the lane to stay healthy. You've now put on pressure, which allows you to rotate around the map and play with other lanes. Alternating between pushing and ganking other lanes with this ability, Comet of Legend, makes it very difficult for Orianna to have an impact on the map apart from just farming. Anyway, before we continue, make sure you hit that like and subscribe for everything Wild Rift and join our Discord in the description down below. Due to the recent buffs to Corki, he's been climbing the ranks as a champion in Wild Rift. His ability to determine late game fights with his missile barrage is unmatched and super easy to execute. Another feature of this is his package. God man, his package is so devastating that it knocks enemies apart and slows them by 90% on impact when inside this trail. I'm so sorry, I'm an adult, I swear. Good thing it's on a 100-second cooldown. But let me let you in on a secret here. Corki's late game is very strong, but don't get me wrong, his early is not. He is good into champions with lower DPS and mobility than him, but struggles immensely against champions that deal high DPS. If you're facing Corki, Draven is your go-to pick. Draven as a champion has crazy base damage thanks to his spinning axe. If Corki ever gets into a 1v1 situation, there is little hope for this little Yordle. Draven not only has superior damage, but he also has the ability to deny Corki's Valkyrie, which can come in very clutch. The goal of Draven is to shut down the Corki early game and go ahead and snowball the game with the League of Draven passive. Whenever you get ahead as Draven, your enemy laner has to concede everything. Being forced to give up so many resources makes him depend on his team as he cannot deal with you by himself. If you want to crush Corki in lane, here's what you have to do. Every time Corki gets too close, you have to throw a spinning axe at him. With that said, do not forget about the minions though. They hurt a lot. Make sure to choose your engagements wisely and play it patient, and then you'll win. The matchup gets worse and worse for Corki over time due to the items that we're building. Bloodthirster as our first item is keeping us healthy and allows us to take seemingly bad trades but heal up right after. It takes some practice to get used to the aggression, but it's definitely worth it. Once you're confident on Draven, you're starting to make Corki players lose their minds. The next champion that is going to be in the meta that we want to counter that has dropped off in popularity quite a bit, but functions pretty well, is Misfortune. The bounty hunter has been wrecking the Rift for quite a while now, so it's time to finally put her down. How so, you might ask? With Ashe, we're able to poke her from range and remain healthy at the same time. Our primary goal will consist of poking her with volley and not giving her any chance to make use of her burst. Apart from slowly depleting her HP bar, we also offer quite a bit of utility for our team in the form of Hawkshot. Hawkshot reveals the area it travels through and can be the difference between dying or living through a gank. Your teammates will love you for this. Specifically for laning though, we want to generally avoid fights on even terms and only engage when we've put her into a disadvantageous spot. Following up next would be the usage of our ultimate ability. It would be most beneficial to pair it up with any other CC heavy support to lock her in place. I bet you can all remember a fight when you were literally unable to move until you died. It's a pretty annoying feeling. However, now it's time for Misfortune to get that feeling. The best support for your lane itself would probably be Seraphine. She offers even more poke in addition to yours and makes life pretty damn hard for Misfortune. You'll also be glad to know that you can double up on the Frosty theme and play with the Braum. With that said, lane itself will be a lot more difficult, but later on you can completely deny Misfortune and make her irrelevant. Sounds good, right? Remember Draven? Not only is he good against Corki in the mid or dragon lane, he also absolutely smashes MF. Best of all is that you can apply the information in the Corki matchup equally as good to the MF matchup. Quickly summing it up for you, make use of your strong 1v1 power using Spinning Axe, opt into Lifesteal, and force her into fights. It's just that easy. So, for our question of the day, what champion do you struggle with against the most? For me, it's probably Lee Sin because he could just jump from the fog of war and kill you, but my favorite is probably Ashe because she's pretty stunning. Next up on the list is Fiora, a very strong duelist on the Baron lane. Her strength comes from her insane base damage and healing capabilities. When fighting her, you very likely felt what she can do to you. On one hand, the mobility provided by Lunge and Duelist Dance make it very difficult to escape from her reach. On the other hand, her being able to completely avoid damage with Riposte on top of slowing the enemy with blade work makes it very hard to fight back. How can you beat that? Here comes the Monkey King. Whenever you're thinking about melee characters fighting each other, Wukong should be your first choice. Wukong excels at 1v1 situations due to Nimbus Strike's attack speed buff, Crushing Blow's damage amplification, and his Golden Staff's range extension and healing bonus. Adding Warrior Trickster to the mix makes him even more powerful. Movement will be determined a lot in this matchup, and you have to attempt to block off her vitals by using your surrounding terrain to your advantage. Especially the moment when she has access to her ultimate ability will make that movement very important. We neither want to be hit by Riposte slow, nor its stun when blocking CC. You have to keep that in mind while using your ultimate. The moment you're on top of her, it is very likely that she's going to be using Riposte, so wait and punish her for it. As the game goes on, we simply crush Fiora and can also influence teamfights compared to her. She's not called a duelist for nothing, as her ability to impact a teamfight is heavily diminished. Wukong compared to that can completely carry a teamfight with just one ability, Cyclone. Finding a good angle and making use of the temporary stealth allows him to sneak up onto the clustered enemies. After getting close enough, your only job is to dash in and start spinning. There's an old saying from League of Legends, spin to win, baby. If you like being a strong side laner while also having a big impact on teamfights, go for Wukong, he won't disappoint you. I hope you're up for a spicy one. Shyvana is one of the most annoying champions in the jungle to deal with. Upon slaying dragons, her abilities in dragon form get absurdly enhanced. For example, her Twin Bite in dragon form upon slaying Mountain Dragon applies a 40% slow, and that's pretty insane. So here's how you deal with her. First, think about what I just said. If dragons enhance her abilities, try to deny these dragons. Consequently, we want a strong and oppressive jungle champion, and does that ring a bell? Olaf at your service. He's got a faster clear speed than Shyvana as well as the ability to invade her. The usage of his Undertow is key here, as she cannot escape from him by running away when continuously slowed. If you want the absolute detail on how to deal with Shyvana as Olaf, you have to absolutely watch the upcoming video of Jungle Pathing. There, you'll see and get to know all the intricacies of the matchup. Last but not least comes the lone wanderer known as Yasuo. He's a champion loved by players that puts their focus on a mechanical show and their styling on their opponents. Although he's a melee champion, Yasuo doesn't struggle finding access to the enemy laner compared to his peers. Sweeping Blade and your minions grant him an opportunity to get close to you and start fighting you. Before we get into detail here, generally speaking, it's very important for any champion to look out for your own minions and watch your distance from them and Yasuo. Depending on the enemy team, Yasuo is not only a lane bully, but can also turn into a late game carry. His ultimate ability allows him to react to allies knocking up enemies, locking them in the air even longer. But now let's go ahead and take a look at a champion that takes care of our Yasuo problem. In Akali, we have a super high sustain and hard to kill laner that can snowball heavily from picking up early kills. Thanks to Fleet Footwork's immense AP scaling for melee characters in unison with Hextech Gunblade's hybrid vamp, it's nearly impossible to kill us. Vampirism offers additional synergy to double down on that sustain later as we rack up kills. Aside from improving our lane, it also helps fade in and out of fights as she can heal up quickly. For laning, we have to take a look at Akali's kit and how to utilize it inside this matchup. Ideally, we want to hit Yasuo with our 5-point strike to proc his shield and move appropriately. This leads us to activating our passive Assassin's Mark. granting us additional range, damage, and movement speed. You're now able to quickly trade an attack with Yasuo to further your lead. A word of caution though, do not forget about minions when playing aggressively. Twilight Shroud and Shuriken Flip offers us a safety when we need to play at our limit in order to turn Yasuo into the enemy's weakest link. Similar to Yasuo, we're also able to turn into a late game menace. Perfect execution paired with the rest of her kit allows us to easily access the enemy backline and kill the squishy targets with our insane damage. If you dislike Yasuo and want to put him into the dirt, take a Kali and show him how it's done. Okay guys, that's it for Counter the Meta in patch 2.1. The champions presented won't automatically win you every single matchup, but you'll have a far easier time. Spend time and learn about these champions' strengths and how to utilize them to hit the next level. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to answer the question of the day in the comments down below. And if you like the video and you want to receive everything Wild Rift in the future, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.